Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ashlyn. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm pleased to be your host for today's graphic communication management session as a part of Ryerson's virtual open house, which is taking place all of this week for the rest of the week. And there are many sessions taking place across the virtual open house. So we encourage you to visit our website and register for any and all of the sessions that are interesting to you. To start, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the land. So if you can just flip the slide to the land acknowledgement, that would be wonderful. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Ryerson has shifted to an essential services model to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have put together a series of virtual sessions in order to share information and connect with you. Ryerson is working diligently to provide students with fulsome experiences while maintaining the health and safety of our community. Before we get started, I wanted to introduce you to some Zoom housekeeping tips. First, we encourage you to ask questions. We have many faculty members, staff members, and even students on the back end to help with any and all questions you might have. To do so, please press the Q&A pod at the very bottom of your Zoom window. Another window will pop up and you'll be able to type in your question there. If you are having any audio or video issues, feel free to flag us through the Q&A pod and one of our staff members will be there to assist you. Also, you may arrange the screen any which way you'd like. You can move it around any which way that makes you feel best at home. It's not going to affect the way we see it on our end or the way how other users are going to be seeing it. This presentation does have closed captioning to ensure accessibility. So if you do require closed captioning, please select that option at the bottom of your Zoom window. So I'd like to know who is joining us today. It's always super exciting to us to learn who is watching. Maybe I'm just launched a poll. Please feel free to fill it out. Maybe you're a prospective student looking to join us next fall. Perhaps you're a prospective student looking to join us in the future a little further than next fall. Perhaps you're a university or college transfer student, a parent or a guardian, or even a teacher and counselor. Awesome. I see most of you have filled that out. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep it up there for a couple more seconds. Amazing. So I'm going to share the results right now. It does seem that the majority of you joining us are looking into joining us next fall, which is super exciting. And we're super happy to have you here and super proud of you that you're doing the research that you need to do in order to make your decision. Now, I just want to mention that ID Alliance, a global industry association for the print and packaging supply chain and developer of ISO standards and specifications, recently bestowed Jason Lisi, our presenter, the 2020 Circle of Excellence Award for his contributions to the advancement of graphic communications educational program. We are so lucky to have him as the chair of our graphic communication management program, and even luckier to have him here speaking with us today. So without further ado, here is Jason to start this presentation.
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today and to get to present to all of you here. I'm really excited that you're interested in graphic communications management. Of course, I'm very biased, but I think it's the best program at Ryerson, and you're making a great choice by being here today. I also would like to take the opportunity to welcome and to introduce my co-host for this event, Afra. And Afra, if you could please just make yourself available and say a couple words to introduce yourself, that would be great.
Thanks, Jason. Hi, everybody. My name is Afra. I'm a fourth-year student in GCM, so I've had quite a bit of experience in the program, and I will be joining Jason in presenting a bit about GCM to you today. So I'm looking forward to sharing more about what I've experienced and welcoming you to our life here.
I want to take the opportunity to share a little bit with you about about Ryerson University in general, and then more specifically about our program. So a little bit about Toronto. So Toronto is the largest city in Canada. It's also the most diverse city in the world, with over 230 different nationalities. And especially for me, I love the amazing food options. If you want really amazing, authentic, genuine food from all over the world, come to Toronto. It's also in the top 10 most livable cities in the world. Ryerson University is an absolutely amazing place to come to learn. It's the most applied to university in Ontario relative to available space. There's over 39,000 students with over 120 programs, lots of partnerships all over the world, so great international connections, and really a hub for international research. It's an amazing campus. There's so much to see and do here, whether you want to hang out at the Ryerson Image Center or skate on Lake Devo in the wintertime, hang out in our beautiful quad, or study in our award-winning Student Learning Center. There's just so much to do and see on campus. Now, a little bit about graphic communications management. Sometimes it's hard to really explain what it is we do, but if you look at what you see up on your screen here today, I'm sure that there's at least one thing on this list that you've interacted with today, even before coming to this session. Everything you see here is something that would be produced within the graphic communications industry. And this is not an extensive list. So when you think of graphic communications, think of anything that is
Hey everyone, we're just experiencing some technical difficulties. Hopefully we'll get Jason back up and running. Afra, maybe you can talk a little bit about your experience while we wait about being a student in graphic communication management. Oh, Jason, do we have you back? I think we have you back.
Hello, can you see me now?
Yes, we can. I'm so sorry. I think you just froze for a second. Feel free to continue. You just started speaking about this slide.
Yes, I was just saying that everything you see here is something that would be produced and managed in the graphic communications industry. So everything from visual communications all the way through to websites, app design, printed materials is all done within the graphic communications industry. When we think about the graphic communications program, we have an amazing curriculum that evolves around creating really good published material for both web and print. And some of the things that you'd be learning in graphic communications include graphic design and typography, packaging, workflow management, management skills, and business and entrepreneurship. These are really key to the program itself. GCM is very unique, and I'm very excited about the fact that we're unique. As a matter of fact, we're the only
So sorry, we seem to just be getting a little bit of some connectivity issues with the internet. That comes with working from home and this new virtual world that we're all living in. I'm gonna feel free to just throw it to Afra. Feel free, Afra, to tell us a little bit about your experience. We also have Brianna on the back end if we need to bring her in. She's also a GCM grad. So sorry, go ahead, Afra.
I think Jason is back for me. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, I keep getting a message saying my internet is unstable, and I'm not sure why that is. So I do apologize. It's been fine all morning. Of course, on the big open house, it has to act up, as is always the way. So I do apologize.
That always happens. Don't worry. You were just mentioning, you said, as a matter of fact, GCM is, and it was like perfect timing and it cut off. So
I said GCM is the only program of its kind in Canada and the largest in North America, with over 700 students, 25 amazing and dedicated instructors to help you learn, and really, really small class sizes with a lot of hands-on learning that help you build those personal connections and really make this a strong place to learn and to develop. I want to talk a little bit about the 3 pillars of GCM. And those 3 pillars are design and creativity, technology and innovation, and business and entrepreneurship. And it's those 3 pillars that really make GCM unique. I believe it's because we focus on these 3 core areas that it's extremely rare for a GCM student to come into the program and find out that there's nothing that they're interested in. So our retention rate at GCM is extraordinarily high because there's a chance that within one of these 3 pillars, or maybe through all of them, you'll find something that really you're passionate about and you want to pursue as a career. So if you're creative, that's absolutely wonderful. You're going to do extremely well. If you're more interested in the technology and innovating for future sustainability, you're going to find amazing things to do in the industry. And if you're more on the business side or really entrepreneurial, want to start your own business, you'll excel at GCM. They don't end up in entry-level positions at all. They usually go into sort of more junior management and middle management type roles. One of the things that I really like about GCM is flexibility and choice. So students get a lot of choice in deciding how their education is going to look. We have concentrations in GCM in packaging, publishing, digital graphic output, and leadership. So how a concentration works is students can choose to focus in one of these areas and take courses that will allow them to get this concentration upon graduation. Concentrations are specific within your major. In addition to concentrations, you can also take a minor, and a minor happens outside of your major. So some of the more popular minors that our students take are entrepreneurship and innovation, finance, law, new studies, marketing, fashion, environmental, and urban sustainability. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Afra.
Thanks, Jason. So I'm just going to talk a bit about the curriculum. And on our next slide, we have the chart that describes the courses that you will take in your 4 years in GCM. So if you're able to see in your first year, we have a lot of foundational courses. So Introduction to Graphic Communications, which is a course that really just introduces you to the industry in general and many of the areas that you will continue to explore in your studies. As well, we have a foundational marketing class and a design and layout course, which is a very important course in establishing the foundations of design in Adobe Illustrator and software that you will continue to use throughout your 4 years. As you continue on, there are different kinds of electives that you can take within GCM. So you can see we have open electives and core electives, and these are courses that would allow you to pursue your concentration, for example. So we have electives such as book production, Photoshop, the art of image retouching. These are all courses that can go towards a specific concentration. And on our next slide, we have a list of a couple of the courses that we offer. So we have over 50 different courses. Some of the courses that I previously mentioned, such as design and layout, magazine production and publishing, in which you develop and design a magazine from start to finish. We have courses in packaging, as well as 3D printing. So there's really a wide array of courses that you can take in the GCM program. And as Jason mentioned, the curriculum is very flexible, so you can really gear it towards your own interests and your own individual learning. And moving along with this, of course, after learning all of these skills in these different areas, we want our students to be able to apply what they have learned. And so the way that they are able to do this is through internship. So GCM students are required to complete a paid internship in order to graduate. And this internship occurs between their 3rd and 4th year. So in the past, we have had students either complete it in the summer after their 3rd year, or the fall that precedes that summer term. And we have a job fair in which companies come, and our students, kind of like a speed dating style, our students have 10-minute interviews with these companies, and they receive a follow-up request for an interview if these companies are interested. And thanks to our reputation in the industry, students often receive multiple job offers prior to graduating. So on occasion, a student will complete an internship over the summer, and before they even graduate, the company offers them a position to continue full-time after graduation. As well, GCM has a very high graduate placement rate. So almost all of our students are able to receive a job after graduating. And we have a short video that will just show you what the job fair experience is like.
All right, thank you, Afra. We're very proud of our internship program and our graduate placement rate. I think it's one of the higher ones in Ryerson University. And being in downtown Toronto and being in the Greater Toronto area really puts our students in an amazing position, because Ontario really is the central hub for the graphic communications industry in all of Canada. If you're interested in broadening your horizons, GCM has an amazing international exchange program. We have partner schools in Germany, Denmark, Sweden, South Korea, and Belgium. The really neat thing about the exchanges that we've created is you can have a more typical exchange, which is a full semester, But we also know that some of our students can't commit to being abroad for 4 months. So we've created what we call summer intensive courses with our partners. So there's exchange opportunities that are as short as 2 weeks and up to a month. So if you still want to have the exchange experience, but can't commit to a full semester abroad, there's a lot of opportunities for you as well. In addition to that, GCM being a part of the Faculty of Communication and Design, or FCAD, as a GCM student, you have other great experiences that you can explore in places like Italy, England, New York, and so much more. Here's one of our students in exchange in Copenhagen in Denmark. And as you can see, he's having a horrible time, not enjoying himself at all. One of the things that's unique to GCM is we have a lot of scholarship opportunities that are dedicated specifically for GCM students. So these are not scholarships that you're competing with the entire Ryerson population for. These are only for our GCM students. As a matter of fact, in 2020, we had over $100,000 in dedicated scholarships and awards for GCM students. One of the ones that I'm really proud of is the Canadian Printing Industry Scholarship Trust Fund. This is a renewable scholarship of $1,500 per year. It's based on grades, and every year 20 students in GCM are offered the Canadian Printing Industry Scholarship Trust Fund Award upon acceptance of their coming to GCM. So this is $6,000 to help you with your education, which I think is pretty good. In addition to what we have specifically for GCM, there's also Ryerson entrance scholarships and other external scholarships and awards that can go a long way to helping you with your education. The scholarships we offer are for academic excellence, for exchange, for leadership, financial need. Some are project-based. So there's a lot of different opportunities for students to get a scholarship. Every year we recognize our students who win awards through our awards night. It's quite a big deal. Students get to dress up, they get to bring their family. Lots of industry is there to congratulate our students. And it really is a wonderful way to celebrate the achievements and accomplishments of our students. All right, Afra.
So I just want to talk a bit about the labs that we have in GCM. Many of our courses will take the format of half lecture, half lab. So 1.5 hours in the week will be dedicated to the lecture time, while the other half is towards the lab. Or we also have courses that are just 3 hours of lab time. But within the Heidelberg Center, we have a few different labs on our floors. So I just want to run through and tell you a bit about the labs and what you can expect. So to begin with our pre-media labs, this lab in specific is one that is located in between our Mac labs, which I will discuss next. But within this lab, we have photography equipment. We have a full cage of cameras that students are able to access and use. We have lighting. We also have proofers that we use for courses such as color management. And these are industry standard proofers and industry standard equipment. So you really have access to the best of the best here. Next up, we have our Mac computer labs, which contain the iMac computers that we use in GCM. Mac is typically the computer software that is used in the industry, so we like to expose students to this early on. And on these Mac computers, we have all of the software and the programs that you would need in your courses in GCM. So we have the full Adobe suite, as well as a few GCM specific or industry specific pieces of software that you might need to use. And students have access to these labs during what we call open lab hours, in which students can come in those time slots where there aren't any classes running. And we also have lab monitors who are there to help students use equipment. So an example of that would be in our bindery lab. In this image, we have some students standing around our saddle stitcher, which is a machine that we use to bind books. We also have a perfect binder, which in GCM and in the course Binding and Finishing, you will learn more about these methods of binding books. But this lab is really cool because you can see how a book kind of goes from start to finish. You get to see the leaflets and the papers, and then how they're bound together at the end. As well, we have our press lab. And we have our very happy students in this image. Behind them is a flexographic press, which is a printing process that is used for packaging mainly. And you can see that there is sort of an imprint on this paperboard material, which is an example of how you would print on packaging. So students have the chance to watch these presses in action, and we do have many other presses for other printing processes as well. So an example here is our 4-color press. So this would be for offset printing, which is printing in much larger quantities, like for books and posters and things like that. So students really have the opportunity to experience what it's like to work with these presses. And then, of course, they get to create their own work using these.
Thanks, Afra. So just to give you some examples of work that students have done in GCM, in Illustrator, they'll create illustrations. So here's some examples of illustrations that were done for our letterpress club at GCM. I teach the Photoshop course, which I absolutely love. And here's some examples of album covers that students put together in my Photoshop course, which was co-taught actually by my colleague Jay Wong, who's on this call as well. Lots of branding design in packaging. So here's an example of a branding design that was done for a restaurant. And here's one that was done for a music festival, or sorry, restaurant. And then this is a package for non-permanent tattoos called Get Inked. In addition, our students will create things like book covers. They'll do creative book binding, produce their own books and magazines, as well as do things like designs for web and apps. So here's some Snapchat filters, for example. T-shirt printing, which is always fun to do on our digital T-shirt printer. And then in addition to that, on more of the academic side, things like the Business Plan Expo, where students will create a 5-year business plan and then pitch that business plan to industry. And Afra.
So just to talk a bit about student life, which I think makes GCM a really exciting place to be. To start, we have our hands-on labs, as I mentioned. So in this image, we had students that they were able to bind a book for a specific workshop. So it was like a notepad kind of thing. So we have fun little workshops within our courses that students are able to run through. And of course, it's very hands-on. We also have many networking events. So every year we have a colloquium at the end of the year in which industry members come and speak, and often our students in the 4th year business plan course will present their business plans. So it's a great opportunity to network with industry, and you can go up to them and ask them your questions, make yourself known. As well, we have many international opportunities. So Jason had mentioned that students are able to go on exchange, but students also have the opportunity to attend trade shows around the world, such as Drupa and Interpack, which run every 4 years and every 3 years. So Drupa, for example, is the world's largest print trade show, and our students are invited to attend, which is really, really an amazing opportunity. As well, we have even more trade shows, as I just mentioned, but a lot of these are more local. So we have Graphics Canada and Sign Expo, which our students attend yearly, and GCM is able to provide for transportation to those as well. We also have conferences. So Jason had mentioned that our students are able to publish their own journals, and we have a group at GCM called RITAGA. TAGA is the Technical Association for the Graphic Arts. So every year, the RITAGA group goes on a conference and they compete, and they're holding up this big trophy, the Helmet, Kip, and Cup, which we have won many times, and we actually won last year as well. We also have guest speakers come and talk in our classes in so many different courses. I have seen many guest speakers, and again, it's an opportunity for you to ask them your questions and learn about people who have been in the industry for a very long time. And finally, we have many different student groups and events. We really show our spirit in GCM. We have a course union that is completely run by our students. They plan events throughout the year for you to attend. We have a really big Halloween party every year, and they really keep you involved. And if you're passionate about that kind of thing, you can also join the course union and contribute to GCM life in that way. So we encourage you to become a part of the GCM family. In GCM, everybody knows each other by their first name. We are very close with our instructors and the faculty and staff that is here. And really, everyone is there. If you ever need someone to talk to or you need some advice, everyone is here to lend you a helping hand.
So I just wanted to follow up with a short little video that kind of summarizes GCM really well. And then we can have some questions and answers.
So GCM is a very broad, encompassing program that covers many things to do with the printing industry. So that's everything from pre-press and design to actual execution of projects to sales and marketing. We are equipped to essentially be a jack of all trades within the industry and find what really sparks our passion and pursue that afterwards.
GCM is great for students looking for the combination of the business industry, printing industries, and design. We take things ranging from design and layout to printing, binding, and finishing, as well as digital output and leadership. All the technology that GCM uses are things that we use in industry, whether it's the Adobe Suite, Metrics, or other imposition softwares. Everything that we use in GCM is applicable to the outside industry.
A lot of the everyday industry touch points that we have are things that you're not necessarily considering when you're going to a supermarket or going and making any sort of purchase. But everything needs packaging, everything needs all of this behind the scenes work, and GCM is really providing that. One thing that excites a lot of students coming into the program specifically is how GCM focuses on everything that we don't see within our purchasing decisions, within our interactions with print media. It's all of the things that are behind the scenes, specifically pre-press and production and packaging. These are all considerations that we're interacting with on a daily basis, but we never really think about them. And I think that GCM is really building the foundation for giving students the skills to actually go out and make a difference in consumer packaging.
Personally, I want to go into the design industry just because I am a creative, and that's really where I found my passion for GCM. We're a top choice for students around the world and in Canada for graphic communication.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Awesome. Thank you to Jason and Afra for that amazing presentation. We do have lots of questions and eager people writing for some responses. So the first one is, what career options are available to you with this degree? I know you spoke a little bit about that, but maybe you can go a little more in depth or as a refresher to some people.
And app development. You could be an art director. You could work in all those different fields if that's the way you want to go. If you're more into the technology and innovation, then you could get on more to the vendor side. You can work with the equipment and the technology and the software that is used to make this industry happen. And if you're on the business side, you might want to go into production coordination, project management. You might want to do operations management or run a company. So there's so many different options available to you that it's, like I said, it's really difficult to take this program and not find something that you're passionate about that you can turn into an amazing career.
Love that. I do want to warn you, Jason, you did cut off a little bit at the beginning, but we still caught a lot of the various positions and industries and careers that students can have after taking this degree. The next question has to do with, can you go into the art industry with this degree? For example, criticism in galleries or curatorial things, stuff like that.
Well, I think you could, but that's not really the focus of this. That's more of a creative industries type of focus. So not to say that you couldn't, but I also don't want to mislead you in saying that, that would be a core of what our students get into.
Awesome, thank you. The next one has to do with the requirements to get into the program. Does this program require a portfolio?
That's a great question. And the answer is no. And the reason for that is because of the 3 pillars that I spoke to earlier. If we were to require a portfolio, that would certainly satisfy the creative and design aspect, but I think it would deter those who are also interested in the other 2 pillars as well. So we don't require a portfolio for coming into GCM.
Thank you. I'm sure many students are happy about that. The next question has to do with the pandemic and COVID-19. How has the program adapted to COVID-19 restrictions with everything moving to an online setting?
Another great question. So I think we've adapted very well, and we found some very creative ways to offer an amazing learning experience in an online environment. But I would actually like to ask Afra to provide her input as a student to this, because she's the one who's really engaged in this on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess because I was part of the cohort that experienced online learning for the first year, many of our lab courses were moved to the winter semester. So I haven't exactly experienced those yet, but I have had some lectures, and I would say that our professors still try their best to make it as engaging as possible. There are online engagement tools that they have been using, such as Mentimeter. As well, I do TA, so I'm a teaching assistant for a first year class. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of our courses use the Adobe Suite. So these labs are still able to run online because students have access to the Adobe Suite through FCAD. So students are still able to learn Illustrator and create design work. And we actually have an Instagram account, gcm.world 130, which has a lot of the design material that students created in that course this semester, and it's really awesome. So I think they've really been adapting as much or as best as they can, and I mean, it's showing in the amazing work that they're making. So
Thank you.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to be checking that website out as soon as the session ends. The next one is a little bit of I want you to kind of humble brag about your program a little bit. I know that GCM has some amazing students who have won many awards. Can you speak a little bit about maybe some students who have won some international awards within the program?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just have amazing students who do amazing work, and one of the recent awards that we've won is through the Paperboard Packaging Association. So this is an international award, and two of our GCM students submitted a project which actually won against all other institutions around the world. And their package is actually an educational package to teach high school students about the value of print and packaging. And their package is actually going to be commercialized and sent out to high schools all over North America. So we're very, very proud of these two students for their amazing accomplishment. In addition, some other recent awards that we've won, the Packaging Association of Canada held a competition where students had to do a rebrand for Nestle Kit Kat. And again, our students won first place in that as well, which was amazing to see. Afra mentioned RITAGA, so the Technical Association for Graphic Arts. We very often win in categories like the best undergraduate research paper and the best undergraduate publication for the RITAGA book. These are just some of the things. I know I'm missing a whole bunch, but our students are just always out there, always involved and engaged, and making us very, very proud.
That's super cool. I definitely am craving a Kit Kat bar right now because of that. Our next question also includes a comment. This anonymous person says, "This program seems amazing. What would some of the lecture classes consist of?" So maybe both Jason and Afra can answer this one.
Yeah, Afra, would you like to go first?
yeah, sure. So some of the lecture classes that I've had in the past have been, as I mentioned, in first year, you take Introduction to Graphic Communication. So I would say in that course, it's kind of like a weekly, or it's separated by weeks and topics each week so that you're really learning about the foundational aspects of the graphic communications industry as a whole. As well, I've taken a lot of courses that are half lecture, half lab. So for example, magazine production and publishing. So in the lecture, you would learn more of the theory-based things that go into creating a magazine. And then in lab, you're actually able to take what you've learned and apply those concepts when you're actually designing it. So I would say that it's more hands-on material in the labs, and then in lecture, it's more theory that you need to know in order to be able to do your hands-on lab work.
That was such an amazing answer. I don't know if I can really add to it. That's exactly what I would have said. The only thing I can add is that in addition to sort of the GCM specific topics that you'll be learning or courses that you'll also have some core required courses that are not taught by GCM, but still part of the program. So this is where you'll take things like marketing and communications and programs like that, or courses like that, that will help you build your GCM degree.
Amazing. The next question is there anywhere where students at home can meet other prospective GCM students or maybe even current students in the program?
Well, I think for me, the first place I would look if I was a prospective student is on social media, and particularly our Instagram account. There's a lot of amazing posts by our students on there. You can ask questions. It's very active. I think that would be the first point of contact if I wanted to kind of get a feel for GCM. And Afra, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I was going to mention the same thing. Primarily our Instagram account at RUGCM. So if you ever have a question, you can just go ahead and DM the account as well. And it is very interactive. So like Jason mentioned, we often post student work as it is created in the courses over the year. So you're able to see what students are creating, and it's highly relevant to what you would likely be doing as well. So yeah, I would suggest following us and keeping up with what we're doing.
That's amazing. Thank you. I also want to plug the FCAD Virtual Student Expo on December 5th. It's a Saturday. I'm sure you're not only are you going to see some amazing work by our current students, but you're going to be able to meet some other prospective students. And also, if you're interested in meeting one-on-one with some of our students at Ryerson, we do have a Meet a Ryerson Student initiative. You can find that on at the Ryerson at Home page. Super easy. Just Google Ryerson at Home and it should pop up on the bottom of the page. You can meet a Ryerson student if that is what you're interested in doing. All right, the next question is about laptops. Is there a particular laptop that is recommended for students entering the program?
Yeah, so I believe Afra kind of mentioned when she was talking about the labs that the graphic communications industry is primarily Macintosh or Apple based. So if you have the means and the ability to get a Mac laptop, it doesn't have to be top of the line. You don't have to go and spend ridiculous amounts of money on a MacBook Pro. But if you could get a decent Mac laptop, that would be great. However, if you prefer a PC or if you rather have a PC for whatever reason, that's absolutely fine too. So, I'd say in order of preference, mid-level Mac. Otherwise, you could go with a PC.
And also, like Jason and Afra mentioned during the presentation, there are Mac labs on campus that you can access, as well as our library also allows students to rent out a laptop if you need to do that. I know it definitely came in handy for me one year when my laptop crashed all of a sudden and I needed to do a final assignment, but it's there for everyone to take advantage of. The next question is about GCM, but comparing it to creative industries. A lot of students are a little bit confused about the differences between these two programs. Can you make that a little bit more clear for us, if possible?
Yeah, so I can try. I know I'm getting a lot of messages saying my internet's unstable, so I hope I can stay with you. But the way that I understand it is creative industries is a program that really prepares you to do things like curating museums or art galleries or that sort of thing. It's more of the finer arts, whereas GCM is really about the graphic design and the communications industry and actually producing all of that wonderful content that we see every day. Having said that, I'm not an expert by all means of creative industries, so I don't know if anybody else wants to jump in here, but that tends to be the differentiating point for me.
Yeah, I can add a little bit to that. Like Jason said, I think in this program, you're going to be doing a lot more of the hands-on application of the graphic communication management side of it. Whereas in the creative industries, it's still going to be hands-on. You're still going to have experiential learning, but it's going to be more focused on the business side of it. So maybe if you're also interested in, say, film or music, you're going to be working on the business side of film and music. So maybe working at the music label instead of being the musician, or working at a movie studio instead of being the director or screenwriter. Hopefully that helps differentiate creative industries from the rest of our programs as well. This question is for Afra, actually. So the student is asking, what has been your favorite course or project so far?
Oh my gosh, it's actually really hard to choose. I honestly, so I'm pursuing a concentration in publishing. So anything like related to books and journals really excites me. I was in yearbook in high school, which is why I was interested in GCM. And I've talked about this a few times. I've mentioned the magazine course, but I think that was one of my all-time favorite projects. My group and I created a women's fashion magazine, and we took our own photographs. We made the whole design and layout, and then we also were able to make it interactive. So we had an interactive PDF version of it for people to view, but it was also print ready. So we were able to have that physical product, which was so rewarding to see at the end. And I think that's what also differentiates GCM from other programs, is where we're really focused on the printing industry and on that final product. So not only do you get to design the work, but you get to see it in its final form, which I think just makes it all that much better.
That was great. Thank you. The next one has to do, the next question is, how has learning in GCM been impacted by the pandemic? So I know we covered a little bit about it, but can we go a little bit more maybe in depth about it?
Sure, I can do that. So what I can say is that the learning experience this year is definitely different than in previous years. But saying that, I don't see different as being a bad thing. It's actually quite interesting. And what I found really, really exciting is that my colleagues and I actually see this as an opportunity to really look at how we teach and to find really creative and unique ways to teach that. So I don't think that, in my opinion, there's been any negative impact. If anything, it's really allowed us to be creative in how we communicate our knowledge to our students, which is very, very exciting. Thinking in terms of the hands-on lab. So one of the things that a lot of the instructors have done, which is really cool, is said, if we can't bring the students into the labs to experience things, let's bring the labs to the students. So they've created course packs where they're sending students equipment and substrates and things like that, so that they can actually experience it at home using technology that they wouldn't ordinarily have. So just thinking outside of the box and being really creative. And the feedback that I've received as chair from our students over the fall semester has been very, very positive.
Amazing, thank you. And I think that's super encouraging for students to know at home that although all of Ryerson has shifted to basically an essential services model, which means the majority of our classes are online, our professors are doing really innovative things to make that experience as the best possible experience possible. And GCM, like Jason has just mentioned, is a great example of how our professors are doing just that. This question is also related to the pandemic. How have student club activities adjusted to a virtual world? I know you mentioned the Halloween social. Did that take place virtually this year?
Oh, I can speak to that a bit. So as I mentioned, we do have our course union, and actually this week they did a whole spirit week. So I believe they used Discord, and they with Netflix Party, they screened a movie, Halloween themed, of course. So they're really trying to keep everyone engaged, and all the activities still ran. But apart from the student life aspect, I guess I can also speak to the student group aspect and the clubs. So we talked a bit about RITEG. This year I'm the president of the club, but the club is still totally running. So usually we create a printed version of our journal, but this year it's just adapted to digital. So we're making an interactive version online. So it's still totally running. We're still competing. in the competition, but we've just had to adapt it based on our circumstances. So I'd say that we're really trying our best and still being as involved in the industry and in these activities as we can.
Amazing. And our students still, I can say from an outsider's perspective, I still see students that are actively wanting to be engaged in their studies, in their programs. So our students, even though they have shifted to a virtual model, I think if there's any generation that was going to take up virtual connections, it was going to be this one. And so it's really encouraging to see all of our students staying in school clubs, doing all those amazing things just in a virtual setting for now. All right, this question has to do with the internship process. What is the internship process like? Where have students done their internships in the past? And is it paid?
Great question. So the internships at GCM have to be paid. We do not allow our students to take volunteer positions unless it's extraordinary circumstances. So, like their dream opportunity comes up and they really, really want to be a part of it, we might make an exception. But the reason why we insist on our interns being paid is because our interns go into companies and they do the work of employees. So you're not just following somebody around with a clipboard taking notes. You're doing production for companies like Nestle. You're producing magazines. You're creating websites. You're doing all of those things. So it makes sense for you to be paid when you're in that position. Where students have done internships all over the world. So obviously a lot of students prefer to stay in the Greater Toronto area, but we have companies from all over the world wanting to hire our grads. So we've had interns go to the Middle East. We've had interns go to Europe, South America, all over Asia, all over Canada, the US. So there's a lot of opportunities for students who are excited about and willing to travel for internships as well.
That's super exciting. It's making me want to go back to school and pursue GCM a little bit, or graphic communication management. But it is 11:57, so I am going to ask us all to wrap up and give any final thoughts and words to the audience listening in today.
So I would just say, thank you for coming. We're really excited about the opportunity of having you join the GCM family. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You see on your screen an email address. You can send questions through social media as well. So, I just encourage you to reach out and ask questions. And, I hope that you got a sense of how excited we are about our program. Afra, did you want to say a couple words?
Sure. So just bouncing off of what Jason said, I did mention that I'm in 4th year of GCM, and honestly, I guess I'm not as excited to graduate as I would have thought because I love the program so much. So honestly, everyone here really just feels like your family. And I think that's something so unique about GCM is that because we are a smaller program, we are a lot more tight-knit. And so it can be hard to leave. But of course, there are great job opportunities out there. So there's also a lot to look forward to. Yeah.
That was super sweet. Oh my gosh. I hate to bring up another question, but we do have one last question. Are internships guaranteed for students?
So nothing is ever guaranteed. You have to work for it. But we do try to make it as easy as possible. So that job fair, I would say probably about 60 to 70% of our students get their jobs directly from job fair. The rest will have to work at it. They'll have to put in resumes and things like that. So it's not guaranteed, but it's also, I would say, probably not extraordinarily onerous to get an internship. Would that be fair, Afra, do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. And as well, there are many different types of internships that can count towards the program. So like we mentioned in design or in business. So I think there's really so many different areas that you could explore. And so you're not limited to just one specific type of internship that you need to look for.
That's great, and such a high note to end off this presentation. Jason and Afra, thank you so much for all the information that you've given throughout this presentation. It was super helpful to everyone listening and watching, but it also, I learned a lot in today's presentation, and I can just tell you from the Q&A pod that I'm seeing, it seems that like a lot of students are super excited to be a part of this program and are even looking at ways of connecting for themselves. So I would like to say thank you to everyone at home. Please stay safe during these times. And on behalf of Ryerson University, thank you. And we hope to see you at other sessions throughout the week. We are going to turn off our cameras and our audio right now, but we hope that everyone has a good day. Bye, everyone.